How do you do? My name is Sammy Cahn. I play the piano in one key, the key of F. And here's Richard Leonard, who plays the piano in all the keys, which is very handy for such an occasion. I have been writing lyrics for over 40 years, and I have fixed and definite opinions about lyric writing, opinions which could get me thrown out of the lyric writing union. For instance, I believe that a word is only as great as the note it sits under, and all my life I've been blessed with great notes. I believe that the art of matching words and music is a very special business, and I would like to give you a personal example of this art. Call me irresponsible, call me unreliable, throw in undependable too. Do my foolish alibis bore you? Well, I'm not too clever, I just adore you. Call me unpredictable, tell me I'm impractical, rainbows I'm inclined to pursue. Call me irresponsible, yes, I'm unreliable, but it's undeniably true. I'm irresponsibly mad for you. I trust you noticed that lyric contains 5-syllable words in it. I only bring that to your attention because I come from a 1-syllable neighborhood. I was born on the lowest part of the Lower East Side in New York City. So low, in fact, if I took one step back, I'd be in the river. The typical family, not very poor and certainly not very humble. 4 sisters, an only son, an awesome responsibility. With brothers, there might be some margin for error, but an only son, I would be a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist, and I'd play the violin. Well, I hated the violin, but I made a deal with my mother, and I adored my mother because she was the kind of a lady you could make a deal with. The deal being I would play the violin up until the night of my Bar Mitzvah, give a violin solo, and that would be it. Well, while waiting for my Bar Mitzvah, I discovered the magic world of the movies. I discovered vaudeville. I also discovered I had ulcers. But came the night of the Bar Mitzvah, and I played that violin solo, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, an astonishing thing happened. My mother came up to me and said, "Sam, we've got to go pay the orchestra." Pay the orchestra? These 5 fellows who had more fun than anybody at the party get paid? She said, "Sam, they get paid." So I walked over to this orchestra leader. I think his name was Stanley, and I said, "Do you do a lot of this?" He said, "Yes, we do a lot of this." I said, "Well, how can I get to do some of this?" And the very next year, I was playing with this little orchestra in a holiday resort similar to your Bognor Regis. Gives you an idea how low I started. It was while playing with this little orchestra that I wrote my first song, Words and Music. First and last song for which I wrote words and music. With your permission and yours, Mr. Leonard. Anytime you're feeling low, you want to make your troubles go, you shake your head from side to side. It's a simple remedy. All you do is you do like me, you shake your head from... Would you believe that went on to become popular? In this very same orchestra, there was this marvelous musician, Saul Chaplin, who actually made an arrangement of Shake Your Head. And so we were called to the office of a music publisher who wanted to publish Shake Your Head. In this music publisher's office, a wonderful thing happened. I ran into an old buddy from the neighborhood, a Lou Levy, a Lindy Hop dancer, later to become the discoverer of the Andrews Sisters and a music publisher himself. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I write songs." He said, "You do?" I said, "I do." And he began to encourage Saul Chaplin and I to write songs together, to the extent that we wrote 6 to 8 songs a day. And every day we would take one of these songs to the office of Arthur Piantadosi, a music publisher. And every day Arthur Piantadosi turned one of these songs down. After 8 months of this, Chaplin, who is much brighter than I am, said, "Why do we go back there?" I said, "Because he lets us in." Now, since we could not make it with a music publisher, we started to write special material. We wrote for comics, for strippers, for snake charmers, for sword swallowers, and belly dancers. If it moved, we wrote for it. By this time, brace yourselves, Lou Levy in blackface, I repeat, Lou Levy in blackface, is doing the Lindy Hop with the Jimmy Lunceford Orchestra in the Apollo Theater in Harlem. Gives you an idea how long ago that was. One day the phone rang and it was Lou Levy to say, "Sam, Jimmy Lunceford needs an opening song for his orchestra. With your permission and yours again, Mr. Leonard." Rhythm is our business, rhythm is what we sell. Rhythm is our business, business sure is swell. If you want rhythm on your radio, write in and let us know. Rhythm is our business, rhythm is what we sell. Jimmy Lunceford recorded that for Jack Cap of Decca Records. Jack Cap of Decca Records sent us to Herman Starr of the Warner Brother Music Companies. Herman Starr of Warner Brother Music Company sent us to Sam Sachs of the Vodafone Studios in Brooklyn, where they made short subjects. And we started to write songs for shorts. Now you will ask, which comes first, the words or the music? I will tell you swiftly, the phone call. One day the phone rang in our office, and it was Roy Mack, a director, to say, "Can you fellas write me a ballad for one of these shorts?" And this is indicative of how Saul Chaplin and I used to write. "Say, Saul, what do you think of this for an idea for a song?" "This is my first affair, so please be kind." He said, "You don't want to do that. What you want to do is, this is my first affair, so please be kind. Handle my heart with care, oh please be kind. This is all so grand, my dreams are on parade. If you'll just understand, they'll never, never fade." And this ballad from a short subject gained some attention. And so we were called to the office of Mac Goldman of the Warner Brother Music Companies, a legendary music man, fastidious, impeccable, with the thinnest lips of any man you ever met in your life. Singing a song to Mac Goldman was no easy task, but I took my stance and I sang, "Tell me your love sincere, oh please be kind. Tell me I needn't fear, oh please be kind. 'Cause if you leave me, dear, I know my heart will lose its mind. If you love me, please be kind." Through those thin lips, he said, "What do you mean your heart will lose its mind?" I said, "Mr. Goldman, sir, assuming that the heart is an entity all to itself, it could very..." His lips got even thinner, and he said, "You going to walk around with the copies and explain it?" I have never explained a line in a song since. This song, from a Vodafone short subject, went on to become #1 in the hit parade. And to show their gratitude, Warner Brothers traded us to Columbia Picture Studios. They sent us out to Hollywood with a letter to the famous, or is it the infamous, Harry Cohen. The letter said, "Dear Harry, this will introduce Sammy Cahn and Saul Chaplin. Please use them. They're gratis." We spent 3 long years with Harry Cohen, and we wrote him all the hits he deserved. None. And so one day, Saul Chaplin and I shook hands and separated. He to remain at Columbia Picture Studios, and I to go into unemployment. It was for me one of the low periods of my life. During this low period, the phone rang, and it was Cy Feuer of Republic Picture Studios, later to become Cy Feuer of Feuer and Martin. He said, "Sammy, I understand that you and Saul Chaplin aren't working together anymore." I said, "That's correct." He said, "How would you like to write with Julie Styne?" I said, "Cy, feeling as low as I do, I would write with Hitler. I went out to the studios and I met Julie Styne. You all know what an incredible composer he is, but more important, he's a marvelous man to write songs with because he loves to write songs. I found out he had this habit. He needed to limber up before he could compose, and always first with a Viennese waltz. From the Viennese waltz, he would segue into a tango. Why a Viennese waltz and a tango when we were doing a Western, I never figured out. But always these two songs. Having limbered up, he played me this melody for the first time. Would you mind playing that just a little bit slower, Julie, please? I've heard that song before. He said, "What are you, a tune detective?" I said, "Forgive me, Julie, I don't mean I've heard the song. I mean that as a title. Would you take it slowly from the top, please?" It seems to me I've heard that song before. It's from an old familiar score. I know it well, that melody. Having established the title and the rhyme scheme, E and or. It's funny how a theme recalls a favorite dream, a dream that brought you so close to me. I know each word because I've heard that song before. Or the lyrics said, forevermore, or forevermore's a memory. Please have them play it again, and I'll remember just when I've heard of that lovely song before. To show his extreme gratitude, Mr. Styne dropped me. He went on to write songs with 4 or 5 other gentlemen, and I again went into my Hitler mood. But of all the songs he wrote, one song emerged as a giant hit. Thanks to the talents of Harry James and Helen Forrest, I've heard that song before. And one day the phone rang, and it was Julie Styne to say, "Sammy, I think we ought to write some songs." And I said, "You know something, Julie, I agree with you. I think we ought to write some songs." And we wrote some songs. We wrote songs for the fun of writing songs. Songs like, "Give me 5 minutes more, only 5 minutes more. Let me stay in your arms." Did you hear what I just said? Give me 5 minutes more. Give me 5 minutes more. Let me stay in your arms. Here am I begging for only 5 minutes more. Only 5 minutes more of your charms. In 16 bars, I said 5 minutes more 30 times. All week long I've dreamed about our Saturday date. Don't you know that Sunday morning you can sleep late? And how do you think I finished this gem? So everybody, give me 5 minutes more, only 5 minutes more. Let me stay in your arms. Julie Styne and I began our collaboration during the war years, and we were trying to chart the course of the war with or without the aid of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who can't carry a tune anyway. And I turned to Julie Styne one day and I said, "You know something, Julie? I have a feeling this war is coming to an end, and we should have a song ready for when the boys come back. And what do you think of this for a title? Kiss me once and kiss me twice and kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time." I didn't realize when I gave him the title, I gave him half the song, because this is what he wrote. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since can't remember when. It's been a long, long time. You'll never know how many dreams I've dreamed about you, or just how empty they all seemed without you. So everybody,
kiss me once and kiss me twice and kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time.
One day the phone rang, and it was the Hungarian in residence at Warner Brothers, Michael Curtiz. He was about to make a film called Romance on the High Seas, and he asked, would Julie Styne and I do the score? Of course we will do the score. Who will we do the score for? He said, you will write for Judy Garland, #1 star in Hollywood. So we started to write for Judy Garland. He said, stop. Cannot get Judy Garland. You'll write for Betty Hutton, #2 star in Hollywood. So we started to write for Betty Hutton, and he said, stop. Cannot get Betty Hutton. Have genius idea. You'll write for her sister Marion. I said, Mr. Curtiz, Marion Hutton is a band singer, a fine band singer. But if you want band singers, we know one of the best. May we bring her? He said, of course. So I called the second Levy in my life, an Alfred Levy, who was managing a young girl called Doris Day before the $22 million. I said, Al, if you can bring Doris out to the studio, I guarantee you we will get her an audition and a screen test. The next day she came out to the studio. She didn't look very, very well dressed. Her hair wasn't especially groomed. I looked at her very carefully and I said, okay, a chorus and a half of Embraceable You. What's the hate? She tried to sing Embraceable You and started to cry hysterically and fell on the couch. Say, Al, you want to explain that? The crying hysterical bit on the couch? He said, well, you see, Sam, she and her husband separated this morning, and this was their song. I said, come on, Al. Spare me this. We got to do an audition. Well, she pulled herself together, and we went into Mr. Curtiz's office, and he asked her to sing. She sang Embraceable You, and he looked at me and said, we make screen test. While they were making the screen test, Julie Styne and I started to write the score, and Mr. Styne started to limber up. While he is limbering up, I am reading the script. The script says, Doris Day and Jack Carson go to this nightclub in Havana. Gives you an idea how long ago that was. In this nightclub in Havana, this Latin guitarist comes strolling by the table. Would you mind playing that again, Julie, please? Once more, gently. You sigh, the song begins, you speak and I hear violins. It's magic. After he chased me around the room for a half hour, I said, you idiot, I've been playing you this tune for 2 years. I said, I'm sorry, I never heard it before. I thought you were limbering up. One day the phone rang and it was Julie Styne to say, Sam, Frank Sinatra wants a Christmas song. I said, a Christmas song? After White Christmas? We're not writing a Christmas song. He said, Sam, Frank Sinatra wants a Christmas song. Well, when you accent wants after Frank Sinatra like that, well, I went to Julie's place and he started. Say, Julie, has there ever been a Christmas waltz? He said, not to my knowledge. I said, would you mind slowing Vienna down a little bit? From the top. Frosted window panes, candles gleaming inside, painted candy canes on the tree. Santa's on his way, he's filled his sleigh with things for you and for me. It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say, Merry Christmas. May your New Year dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too. Which comes first, the words or the music? Always the phone call. One day the phone rang in my office, and it was from a buddy of mine called Ed to say, would you please write a song with Gene DePaul? It would cheer up Gene DePaul if you would write a song with him. I said, let's be sensible. I am liable to write a song with Gene DePaul. Will depress him more than ever. So Gene DePaul came out to the studio. We had a bite of lunch. He went to the piano, and I said, Gene, shoot your best shot. Would you mind playing that just a little bit slower, Gene, please? Say, Gene, what do you think of this for an idea for a song? Teach Me Tonight. Did you say I've got a lot to learn, what to learn, not to learn, spot to learn, hot to learn, teach me tonight? He seemed to like the idea, so I said, well, what comes first in teaching is the ABC. So, starting with the ABC of it, right down through the XYZ of it, help me solve the mystery of it, teach me tonight. Next in teaching, you have chalk and a blackboard. So the sky's a blackboard high above you. Should a shooting star go by, I'll use that star to write I love you 1,000 times across the sky. And finally, in teaching, you have graduation. So one thing isn't clear, my love. Should the teacher stand so near, my love? Graduation's almost here, my love. And we had a song. And since we were at the studio had first refusal, so they refused it first. I'm sure that you're all familiar with a song called 3 Coins in the Fountain, but I'm sure that none of you are familiar with the story behind the song. So if you will come with me and with Julie Styne to the 20th Century Fox Studios in Beverly Hills, we have been hired to write the very first CinemaScope musical, Pink Tights, to star Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, and Dan Daly. And we wrote one of the great scores ever written in the history of a Hollywood musical. I tell you that because you're never going to hear it. Because when this film was about to start, Marilyn Monroe ran off to Japan with some ball player called DiMaggio. Give you an idea how long ago that was. So there we were at the studio with nothing much to do. And one day the door opened, and in walked Saul C. Siegel, the producer, to say, can you fellas write me a song called 3 Coins in the Fountain? I said, I can write you a song called Eh. He said, don't be funny. We need a song called 3 Coins in the Fountain because the New York office wants to call the film We Believe in Love. I said, can we see the picture, please? He says, you can't see the picture, please. The picture is all over the lot. They're dubbing, looping, and scoring the picture. You can't see the picture. How about if we read the script? He says, you can't read the script because the script's in Italy. Well, then, could you give us a tiny clue as to what the film's about? He said, what's the film about? 3 girls go to Rome, they throw coins in the fountain, and they hope they'll fall in love, and he left. Well, he did leave us a title and a clue, so I went to the typewriter. Put the piece of paper in the typewriter. The first line was easy. 3 coins in a fountain, each one seeking happiness, thrown by 3 hopeful lovers, which one will the fountain bless? Gave the piece of paper to Mr. Stein. Now, it would take a computer to estimate the various notations it would take to cover those 4 lines, but Mr. Stein, being the great composer he is, began to play. That's nothing much. Fair. Having established that that was the perfect theme for this film, he was 3/4 finished, because that repeats 3 times in the lyric. So he handed back the paper. You want to know something, Julie? This song is finished. I don't know what else to say. I've said everything I had to say in these first 4 lines. He said, how about mentioning Rome? That's fair. 3 hearts in the fountain, each heart longing for its home. There they lie in the fountain, somewhere in the heart of Rome. Now, this song is finished. He said, write the bridge. The bridge is the connecting link between the parts that repeat. He said, write the bridge. I don't know what to write. He said, will you please try to write a bridge? Well, I've agonized over lyrics in my life, but never like this. I paced. I stared. I finally, in total frustration, lifted the piece of paper and I typed, which one will the fountain bless? Which one will the fountain bless? He said, which one will the fountain bless? Which one will the fountain bless? Wouldn't you like to rhyme it? No, I wouldn't like to rhyme it. He said, just like that? Which one will the fountain bless? Which one will the fountain bless? I said, just like that. And just as angrily he played. That's terrible. He said, of course it's terrible. What am I supposed to do with which one will the fountain bless? Which one will the fountain bless? You know something, Julie? This is a typewriter. It's a typewriter. It can only type the same line twice the same way. It's a typewriter. You happen to have a piano. How about trying to help it? Isn't that prettier? And then he said, this bridge is only 4 bars. I said, which bridge is only 4 bars? He said, this bridge. Well, songs are written in 8-bar sections. Why is he saying this bridge is only 4 bars? Say, Julie, did you write it correctly? He said, what's there to write? Which one will the fountain bless? 2? Which one will the fountain bless? 4. It's only 4 bars. Well, the way they are writing songs nowadays, you have bridges which are 11 1/8 bars, 13 1/4 bars, 49 1/2 bars. Let me hear that bridge again. Which one will the fountain bless? Which one will the fountain bless? I like it. He said, if you like it, finish it. 3 coins in the fountain. Through the ripples how they shine. Just one wish will be granted. 1 heart will wear a valentine. Make it mine. Make it mine. Make it mine. At this point, the door reopened and back came Saul Siegel to say, how are you doing? I said, we have a song. We have a song. But if you will give us about 1 hour, we will learn it and we will do it for you. He said, learn it? Didn't you write it? What he didn't understand is after you write a song comes the important work, preparing the song for the demonstration, finding the proper key, the proper accompaniment. He said, look, if you have a song, please let me hear it. We're fighting time. If you have a song, please let me hear it. I turned to Julie Styne. I said, well, let's all hear it. And I sang for the first time. Make it mine, make it mine, make it mine. He said, it's great. Let's go do it for Zanuck. Darrell, the boys have a song. And I sang for the second time to Darrell Zanuck. Make it mine, make it mine, make it mine. Zanuck said, it's sensational. Will you make a demonstration record? I said, me make a demonstration record? Me, you got to see to believe. He said, who can we get to make this record? I said, well, Sinatra is walking around here getting $250,000 for not making a picture. How about if I ask him? He said, would you? I said, fine. Say, Frank, we have just written a song for the studio, and they wanted me to make the demonstration record. He said, you? That's what I thought. Would you do it? He said, sure. When? Tomorrow? Fine. I raced to the music department, to the office of Lionel Newman. I said, Lionel, are you going to have any musicians around here tomorrow afternoon? He said, quite by accident. Tomorrow afternoon I will have 60 men here. We are scoring the captain from Castile. I said, do you think you can whip up an orchestration? He said, I'd be happy to. The next day, Frank Sinatra came out to the studio. Julie Styne took him to the piano, taught him the song, and the 3 of us sauntered over to the sound stages. We opened those massive doors, and there they sat, all 60 of them, ceiling to floor, door-to-door orchestra. Sinatra said, what the hell's that? I said, Frank, that's a 60-piece orchestra. He says, I can see it's a 60-piece orchestra. What the hell are they doing here? I said, Frank, they happen to be here. They happen to be here. They happen to have an orchestration in my key. Frank, they happen to have an orchestration in your key. But if you'd rather do it with Julie Styne at the piano, I'll have them take 5. He said, them take 5. It'll take them an hour to get out of here. Let me hear the orchestration. And that's when the magic started. Lionel Newman raised his arms and he brought in the strings. And then he brought in the harp, the water. Frank Sinatra went on to record the song. It became the title theme of the film. It went on to win the Academy Award. It went on to become the #1 song and the #1 picture in the world. Now, if this is not enough happy ending for you, we have what is known as an epilogue. During all this excitement, 20th Century Fox forgot a small detail. They forgot to make a deal for the song. I'm not sure you totally understand what I've said, so I'll explain it. It means that we own the #1 song and the #1 picture in the world. And the door burst open and back came Saul Siegler screamed, "Fellas, we're in great trouble. We forgot to make a deal for the song." I said, "That's right. You're in great trouble." He said, "You're going to have to give that song back." I said, "No, we're not giving it back." He said, "You cannot own the #1 song and the #1 picture in the world. Be reasonable." I said, "Let me talk to my partner, please. You know something, Julie? Fair is fair. If it weren't for Saul Siegel and Darryl Zanuck, we never would have written the song. And being the decent chaps we are, we gave back half the song. So from this day hence, whenever you hear,
make it mine,
half is ours.
make it mine,
50%. Make it mine. One day the phone rang, and it was MGM's Hungarian in residence, Joseph Pasternak. He was about to make a film to introduce a new talent, Mario Lanza, and would I please come out to the MGM studios to meet a Hungarian composer called Nicholas Brodsky. May I describe Mr. Brodsky for you? He was a short-statured gentleman with jet black patent leather hair and the kind of a shape if you pushed him over, he rolled back up. Pasternak said, "Nicky, will you please go to the piano and play for Sammy the love theme for Lanza?" Nicholas Brodsky went to the piano and he played the love theme for Lanza in this manner. Pasternak said, "Can you put words to that?" I said, "I could put words to it if I could hear it. This fellow plays like he has 11 fingers on each hand. I never heard so many notes. Charlie Waterfalls." And so for the first time in the history of Hollywood, a pianist was hired to play for the composer. Luckily, Nicholas Brodsky had had operatic training, and this was very helpful to me because I made Nicholas Brodsky sing every word to each note as I wrote it, so I'd have some idea of how it might sound when Lanza sang it. And it sounded like this. "Be my love, for no one else can end this yearning, this need that you and you alone create. Just fill my arms the way you fill my dreams, the dreams that you with every sweet desire. Be my love, and with your kisses set me burning. One kiss is all I need to seal my fate. And hand in hand we'll find love's promised land. There'll be no one but for me eternally, if you will be." Of course, I pointed to all the missing notes. The writing of movie title songs is an ancient and honored business in Hollywood. Now, I know everyone thinks that I write all the title songs. It's not true. Lord knows I tried to write them all, but I don't. And it goes back many years. One time they made a picture called Woman Disputed, and someone wrote a song called Woman Disputed, I Love You. Goes back many years. One day the phone rang and it was Universal Picture Studios. Ross Hunter. He said, can you come out to the studio? We're about to make a film to star Julie Andrews, thoroughly modern Millie. On the way to the studio, I turned to Jimmy Van Heusen. I said, you know something, Jimmy? He can't want us to write a song called A Thoroughly Modern Millie. Sing it, you can hardly speak it. When we came out to the studio, Ross Hunter leaped from the desk and said, isn't that the catchiest title you have ever heard? I hated that title so much I got even. I didn't use it but once at the very end of the song. But when we brought the song to the studio, they got even. They turned it down. They said, write us another Thoroughly Modern Millie. Another? I didn't think we could write the first one. You know something, Van Heusen? It occurs to me that they would like for us to write them the kind of a song that sounds like it has already been written. So you're going to have to forget you're this great composer and just try to write something real corny. Psst, psst, psst. James, I think if you tried, you could get cornier. God, that's corny. Now, if there's anything in the world I hate, it's notes without words. And you know that part, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, it didn't have any notes. I said, Van Heusen, would you mind playing that slower, please? Everything today is thoroughly modern. I check your personality. Everything today makes yesterday slow. A better face reality. They accepted that song. It went on to win 2 gold records and happily financed my second marriage. I hope I've indicated how important the demonstration of a song is, and if it weren't for the fact that I get to demonstrate my songs, I would go into some other business. I've sung my song to all the great, great entertainers, but the man I really adore singing a song at, not to, but at, is Frank Sinatra. And Frank Sinatra asked Jimmy Van Heusen and me to do the songs for the film The Joker is Wild, based on the life story of the legendary Joey Lewis, the comedian. And we had to write a very special song, because when this picture begins, Joey Lewis is a young entertainer singing around the nightclubs of Chicago. When somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you all the way. Happy to be near you when you need someone to cheer you all the way. Later in the film, when the boys from Chicago leave him almost for dead, he tries to make a comeback singing the same song. When somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you. And you know he's never going to hit those notes again. And so the day came for us to sing the song at Frank Sinatra, and we were told to go to the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas. Gives you an idea how long ago that was. When we got to the hotel, we were told that Frank Sinatra would hear the song during the breakfast hour. So 5 o'clock that afternoon, he came out of his bedroom suite looking like all the pictures of Dorian Gray. He saw me and he said, listen to your singing before breakfast? I said, Frank, it's a draw. I have to look at you while I'm singing. He said, let me hear the song. And we gave him the full treatment. Who knows where the road will lead us? Only a fool would say. But if you let me love you, it's for sure I'm gonna love you all the way, all the way. He opened his little black lids, showed us his little old red eyes, and said, "Let's eat." And from Frank Sinatra, that is high praise. But I'll always be grateful to Frank Sinatra for putting Jimmy Van Heusen and me together and giving us our initial assignment, the writing of the title song, The Tender Trap. You see a pair of laughing eyes, and suddenly you're sighing a sighs. You're thinking nothing's wrong, you string along, boy, then snap. Those eyes, those sighs, they're part of the tender trap. You're hand in hand beneath of the trees, and soon there's music in the breeze. You're acting kind of smart until your heart just goes whap. Those trees that breeze, they're part of the tender trap. Some starry night when her kisses make you tingle, she'll hold you tight and you'll hate yourself for being single. Then all at once it seems so nice, the folks are throwing shoes and rice. You hurry to a spot that's just a dot on the map. You wonder how it all came about. It's too late now, there's no getting out. You fell in love, and love is the tender trap. You remember those Dean Martin one-liners? The girl that I marry will have to be a nympho who owns a distillery. Kiss me once and kiss me twice and kiss me once again. It takes a long, long time. When somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you. All the ways I looked under Jordan, and what did I see? Mrs. Jordan. This is my first affair, so what goes where? It's impossible to make love in a Toyota. It's impossible. But I do think that the gentlemen who write for the Broadway musical stage are the truly great special material writers. Mr. Rogers, Mr. Berlin, Mr. Styne. And I had a chance to write for the Broadway musical stage back in 1947. I did a show called High Button Shoes. Give you an idea what a hit I was, they didn't call me again for 20 years. 20 years later, the phone rang, and it was Cy Fure to say, "We are doing a musical called Skyscraper." And Mr. Van Heusen and I did that score, and it contains a song that I dearly love to sing, do. It's what I'm all about. Everybody has the right to be wrong, at least once. Everybody has the right to be dunce like once, like. Not being too smart is no disgrace. What sets you apart is smiling with egg on your face. It's naive to make believe that you're right. It's not bright. Only fools go walking on a thin ice. Twice, you and life can skip the strife and you'll both get along. All it takes is simply saying you're wrong when you're wrong. And everybody has a right to be. It can be a sheer delight to be. And I'd fight for the right to be wrong at least once. I'd be wronger than even I have a right to be, not to allow three charming and talented people to sing a medley of songs that I have written.
won't you dance with me? Oh, dance with me, please dance with me.
Papa, take a chance with me and dance with me tonight. There goes that song again.
We used to call it our serenade. We fell in love when we heard it played over and over and over and over again. Of this I'm more than just sure. Our love will last and endure. I'll never stop loving you.
Day by day I'm falling more in love with you, and day by day I want you to know.
The boat rides we would take, the moonlight on the lake, the way we danced and hummed our favorite song, the things we did last summer, I'll remember all winter long.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful, and since we've no place to go,
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Because you're mine, that isn't thunder, dear, it's only my poor heart you hear, and it's applause because you're mine.
What he has is pure pizzazz, plus a touch of class. It's all there, that savoir-faire, plus a touch of class. My heart should be well schooled, 'cause I've been fooled in the past, and still I fall in love too easily. I fall in love too fast.
Saturday night is the loneliest night in the week, 'cause that's the night that my sweetie and I used to dance cheek to cheek. I don't mind Sunday night at all, 'cause that's the night friends come to call.
I should care, I should go around weeping. I should care, I should go without sleeping.
Love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage.
This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other.
I'd work for you, I'd slave for you, I'd be a beggar or a knave for you. If that isn't love, it'll have to do until the real thing comes along from the factory. Until the real thing comes along.
Buy me a Mr. Shane, please let me explain. Buy me a Mr. Shane means that you're grand.
I'll walk alone, because to tell you the truth, I'll be lonely. I don't mind being lonely. I'll walk alone. take the moon, gather up the stars and the robins that sing merrily.
Put 'em in a box, tie 'em with a ribbon, throw 'em in the deep blue sea.
There are those who bet love comes but once, and yet I'm also glad we met the second time around.
I only know what I know. The passing years will show. You kept my love so young, so new. And time after time, I tell myself that I'm so lucky to be loving you.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Just what makes that little old ant think he'll move a rubber tree plant? Now anyone knows that an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but he's got high hopes. He's got high hopes. He's got high apple pie in the sky hopes. Don't ever ask me what Chicago means unless you've got an hour or 2 or 3, 'cause it takes time to tell you what Chicago means. Mainly what Chicago means to me. Gee, it's my kind of town. Chicago is my kind of town. Chicago is one town that will not let you down. It's my kind of They don't call me one-take Cahn for nothing.